Today's Cowboys report, focused in on Leighton Vander Esch replacements, is made possible by Manscaped. We'll tell you all about their men's grooming products later on in today's show. But as a reminder, folks, you get 20% off over at manscaped.com when you use promo code Cowboys. The unfortunate injury news from yesterday/last night, Leighton Vander Esch is expected to head to injured reserve. He is again dealing with a neck injury that is a troubling long-term issue because he's had them before, and a concerning short-term thing because we have no real details on when he might return, how severe that neck injury really is, but the expectation is that Vander Esch is going to miss at least those 4 games and more there. Like, linebacker is already your most thin spot on the entire roster, and you've just lost your best one. That's bad for the Cowboys. Vander Esch's numbers have not been off the charts great or anything this year, but he's often in the right spot. I think he's been better than Damone Clark. I think your safety play, which we'll get into, by the way, has been a bigger problem for this defense, and I got to lean more on those guys. It's all questionable at this point. Concerning as well. Now, if you want a second video later today, then share this one. Social media, Twitter, X, whatever we're going to call it, Facebook, text to buddy, whatever. Share today's video if you want a second Cowboys one later on in the day. This is where the Cowboys linebacker room currently sits. Leighton Vander Esch, not on IR yet, so we'll keep the hurt asterisks up there. Damone Clark, Markquese Bell, kind of, sort of. That's it. You already lost Overshone for the season. Damone Clark is actually your team leader in tackles, which I don't think any of us would have guessed, but there's been maybe the one splash play. Everything else has kind of been a little bit too far downfield for my liking, and now you're going to count on him even more. You have to. With Vander Esch out, you got to figure out a new signal caller, by the way, which might be a player we'll get to here in a little bit. The Cowboys' solution overall, and this worked well when your safeties were playing well, is go safety heavy. Markquese Bell was basically a safety playing linebacker. Jabril Cox, Donovan Wilson, Wanye Thomas can play in the box. Here's the problem. Cox and Wilson have been bad this year. I'm a big fan. Jabril Cox, a big leader for your team. My guys are lining up off sides by a yard. It wasn't even close. The safeties have to play better, or this is going to be a very real issue for this Cowboys team moving forward. Markquese Bell also going to get a chance to make some more plays. I don't love him in run fits. I think he works well in coverage. I think he's best going north-south more than anything. But he's a little bit light to take on a bunch of run fits. So that means your defensive tackles, Hankins in particular, have to absorb blockers better. You'll see more Markquese Bell, and out of necessity, you'll probably see more Micah Parsons at off-ball linebacker. Now, he still has to rush the passer more than anything, and honestly, last time we really saw him play off-ball linebacker was against the Green Bay Packers, and I don't think he played that well. Hopefully, more talent, more time, more growth, etc. He'll play better. Not Fred Warner. Nobody really is. But if he can just be serviceable, solid, good at off-ball linebacker, probably more on rundowns than on passing downs. He goes back to defensive end. I think that's okay. I want to keep Micah at edge. But your alternative options right now are not great. It's kind of almost out of necessity. You have to go down this path. So we'll go into some replacements here in a little bit. Should the Cowboys add a linebacker? I think the answer is 1. I think you have to, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. 1 for yes, 0 for no. It's the pinned comment. Go vote if the ad comes here on YouTube. Now, your immediate move might be to call up Malik Jefferson from the practice squad. He's used up 2 of his game day call-ups, mostly to help out on special teams. I don't know if he's someone you really want starting real games, but that's where you're at this point. The other practice squad option is Mikel Jones, who the Cowboys picked up from the Chargers after he had been cut at roster cutdown time to make the practice squad. He's not ready. This is not a solution. This is we lost Devin Harper, which, man, are you kicking yourself right now for that? And we had to get somebody else in the practice squad for depth purposes. Well, that's fine for depth. Now you need more than depth. Let's move to free agency. Anthony Barr is still out there. And again, we are in October. Your viable free agent options are not very appealing. Barr does stand out as someone who knows the defensive scheme. I also don't know how much more he really has left in the tank. I question if he can be a reliable piece or a contributor piece at this stage in his career. He hadn't lost one step last year in 2022. I think he lost 2 or maybe even 2.5. Like he just isn't moving the same way you need him to. And there are other guys out there that kind of fit that same kind of like he can blitz a little bit. I don't need a linebacker who can blitz. I need a linebacker who can stop the run and not be a liability in coverage. I don't know if Anthony Barr, especially in coverage, is that guy. Today's show is made possible by Manscaped. And you know Manscaped for their below-the-waist men's grooming products, right? Taking care of your nether regions. They're also taking care of your face these days. Their newest product is the Handy Man. If you're tired of a bad razor making your neck look scary movie because you're nicking it up, you're cutting it, whatever, with Handyman's skin-safe technology, you can help reduce nicks and cuts, and you can finally feel confident when going for that close shave. The Handyman razor works for wet or dry, so you can bring it anywhere and everywhere. Compact design, also airplane friendly, because you got to be airplane friendly in 2023, right? We're all traveling in the end. So get the Handyman, the Beard Hedger 2.0, or the Beard Hedger as well, and get 20% off over at manscaped.com by using promo code Cowboys. That's 20% off, manscaped.com, promo code Cowboys. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. The next free agent option, Rashaan Evans. Again, it gets a little bit thin after these first two guys. Evans did spend some time in Philadelphia, and then he kind of got released. The claim was, he wants a shot at more playing time. No one's picked him up since then. It's kind of a red flag, right? And the Eagles went to Nicholas Morrow, and that's actually worked out really well for them. They found some success from that area. The tackle numbers look really good, right? 159 tackles last year. He wasn't good in coverage. That's concerning. I don't think there are good options out there. I think Rashaan Evans of the pure free agents is your best bet. I would not have immense confidence in him, though, however. Let's go to a Cowboys legend, Damian Wilson. Yeah, we are scraping the barrel here right now for linebacker options. There was a point where Jayon Brown, next up on our list, looked like a pretty solid football player. Those seemed to dwindle as things went forward. And then a former, I think, Pro Bowl special teamer, by the way, Kevin Pierre-Louis is fifth on this. It's not a great crop, guys. The available off-ball linebackers are not good. This is where you really miss DeMarvion Overshown with LVE set to miss some time. So name a player. We'll get to some trade and practice squad options here in a little bit. But name a player who you want to add at linebacker. Sound off in the comments section. AJ Klein is first up of our practice squad options. I thought about putting Christian Kirksey on here, who was on the Bills practice squad and then retired. So not really sure that's a great option from that perspective. But it's notable. He's been a long-time NFL player, veteran impact from that perspective. Let's go to Jabril Cox. Now, you have to convince him, by the way, because I don't think Jabril was too happy that you passed over him and chose to release him from your active roster, and he goes to the Commanders. But game day checks are game day checks. He knows your defense. I don't love him in run defense, but I trust him a bit more in coverage. Cox out is dead. It's never coming back. But Cox in? Hashtag Cox in the comments section if you want to bring back Jabril Cox to the Dallas Cowboys 53-man roster. We'll go quicker on some of these here. A.J. Johnson of the Miami Dolphins. He's bounced around the Broncos most notably. Has started games. That's valuable. Michael Walker was a Dan Quinn draft pick in Atlanta. 4th-round pick. The new regime that took over never liked him all that much, and he's now with the Raiders practice squad, so not a great fit, but there is a Dan Quinn connection. And finally, on practice squads, Jaylon Smith. I'm sure somebody in the comment section wants to bring back Jaylon Smith. I really don't. I would rather bring back Jabril Cox. I would rather give Malik Jefferson run. Jaylon was a fun story. He was good for a little bit in Dallas, and then it all kind of fell apart for him. I don't want him back. But this is America for America's team. I believe in democracy. So would you bring back Jaylon Smith? Y for yes, N for no. Go vote in the comments section. Trade candidates now. I believe the first two names on this list are absolutely available. First up is Josey Jewell, the Denver Broncos linebacker. Denver said they're shopping everybody, right? Okay. They're not going to shop every player. You want Patrick Stan? I'm sorry, you're not going to get him. And by the way, should you trade 2 firsts for him right now? I don't think you should. Josey Jewell has been a long-time NFL starter. He's been banged up. He missed a bunch of time in 2021. When healthy, this is a guy that can get you 100 tackles. That can do some stuff in the backfield. Isn't a massive liability in coverage. Josey Jewell is a very good name to consider. I don't think it'd be that expensive to consider adding him to your roster if you were at least I should say from a trade value perspective. It's an off-ball linebacker. Those guys shouldn't be that crazy. You would owe him around $5 million, well, prorated, so 3.5. That's doable. It's basically what you're paying Leighton Vander Esch. The contracts aren't that dissimilar. He's just in the last year of his deal. That's a good name to consider. Now, our goal was 167,000 subscribers before kickoff of Monday Night Football. Help us get there. Hit that sub button right now. All right, next up is Jordan Hicks, a player we talked about. We talked about this last week, right? Like, hey, consider Jordan Hicks if your guys get hurt. Well, one of the guys got hurt. Hicks, again, has put up decent numbers. He's a little bit older. He's a short-term solution only. But both Hicks and Jewell probably need some time to get them acclimated to the defense, but they are far more proven and can be a 3-down-ish linebacker for you compared to what other options have been available on your roster, given all your injuries right now. Malcolm Rodriguez. This is a player Dallas liked, by the way, and they were going to take him before the Lions sniped them. Is not playing that much in Detroit right now, kind of fell out of favor. A little undersized, not a perfect football player, and the Lions are contenders, so they might not trade away a piece who, is giving them the depth that they need in the event of injury. So consider it, but again, trading with contenders is often challenging. Malik Harrison, next up here for the Baltimore Ravens, who he's really fallen out of favor of just being an off-ball piece for them. Again, contenders, but former third-round pick worth considering. Shaquille Quarterman, I don't love him, but he's kind of buried on a fairly deep Jaguars depth chart at linebacker. Again, they're also contenders. Trying to find solutions here. It's not easy. And because I know you guys will mention him, I'll throw in Deion Jones here for the Carolina Panthers. Now, he's on their active roster. He was cut briefly and then brought back. It was the old, he's not going to go through waivers move, so you can cut him and bring him back later on. I don't know if, Carolina would trade him when they're trying to, show what they have available, but he's a veteran, so maybe it makes some sense. I don't know how well he and Dan Quinn get along these days. It's a fair question to ask since he's been available. Cowboys have shown no interest, but I knew you guys would ask about him, so I did want to mention him briefly.